What's up everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today I'll be going through my 2022 AFL Finals predictions. Now with round 23 finishing off on the Sunday, of course the finals fixture has been released for week 1 and we've got the final series now approaching us, obviously starting next week. So I thought, well, as I always do every year, we'll go through my finals predictions where I go through week 1 all the way to the grand final where I predict my premiers for 2022. So we'll start off with week 1 of the finals, and I guess you could argue this is a bit of a preview for what I'm going to tip for my week 1 finals tips next week. But to be honest, it's for the video, and there's a good chance that these tips might change, or something that I might say in the videos will change. So it's not like it should matter too much. So the first elimination final on the Thursday night we've got this time. We've got the Lions take on the Tigers at the Gabba. To get a bit of a picture of where these two sides are at currently form-wise, all you really got to do is go and have a look at the odds for these two sides, and you'll see that the Tigers are actually starting this game favourites, because the two sides form-wise have been complete polar opposites. You've got the Lions on one hand finishing the year off in tragic fashion, losing by 10 goals against the D's at the home venue in a game where it was do or die to make the top 4, and they completely failed. In fact, the Lions have seemed to fail every time they play a top 8 side. They've only beaten the top 8 side I think 1 or 2 times this season, which for the Lions' sake is simply not good enough. I mean, the only reason they've made it to this stage is because they've been able to beat, the lower ranked sides, but haven't been able to take it up to the hierarchy of the competition. Richmond, they're heading into finals in really good form. As I've said before multiple times, the last game when they've lost by more than 6 points was in round 6 of 2022 against the D's in Anzac Day Eve. So you could argue the Tigers are one of the form sides in the competition. They've won their last 4, all of those games scoring over 100 points. The highest scoring side in the AFL as well. Even though there is going to be a week bye, I still think the Tigers' good form heading into finals is going to carry on for the first week, and they're going to win this game by 23 points. Regardless of being at the Gabba or not, I mean, let's be real, we're quick to forget that the Lions' form at the Gabba in finals has been shocking, losing 4 of their 5 games they've played in over the last few seasons. You can say goodbye to the Lions. They're departing in the first week of finals as we head to the second qualifying final between the D's and the Swans on the Friday night. A lot of people wanted this game to be the Pies and the Cats on the Friday night, but I mean, who really cares at the end of the day? It doesn't really matter. These two sides are very evenly matched, similarly matched sides, and it's almost a 50-50 game. You'd probably say the D's would be heading to this one favourites with the home final, of course, and the Swans are the team that got the chockies on that occasion, which would have to give them a lot of confidence heading into this game that they're definitely able to beat the D's. And something tells me that the D's might not win this game solely because of the fact that they've been a bit shaky against the good sides at the MCG. Of course, they lost to the Swans, they lost to the Dockers, and they lost twice to the Pies at the MCG since round 10. So if there's a venue where they haven't really been at their best, it's probably the MCG. So you could argue that it might give them the slight disadvantage. You would think, though, regardless, they should get the job done. But the Swans have timed their run perfectly into September, winning their last 6, or it might even be their last 7 games of the season. I think I'm going to go the upset in this one. I'm going to go the Swans in an upset game and tip them by 9 to advance into a home preliminary final. The next game, we've got the first qualifying final between the Cats and the Pies at the MCG. This will be played on the Saturday, 4:35 PM time slot. I mean, how good have the Cats been since round 9? They've won their last 12 games, and they've been by far clear and above the best side in the competition this season. They've been just getting convincing win after convincing win, and definitely deserve to get that top spot in the home qualifying final. The Pies, though, how have they managed to scrape into the finals, into the top 4, I should almost say. They've won their last 11. They've won 11 of the last 12, and they definitely deserve to be in this position. So it's going to be set for a cracker contest. But surely the Cats, with how good they've been playing, they've definitely been the better side than the Pies this season. Surely they can't continue their finals hoodoo and lose this one. They've got to break their streak. And if they break their streak, I believe they can go all the way and win the flag. But if they lose the first week, it's just a bit of a pattern for the Cats. They lose first week, it seems to win the semis, they'll lose the prelims. It always seems to happen. Surely not this time round. I'm going to go the Cats. I just think they get it done in a good contest between the Pies. I'll definitely match them for most of the game. With the Cats, hopefully, you would think would be too strong in this game and will win the game by 14 points. And the last game on the week 1 of the finals, we've got the first elimination final between Fremantle and the Western Bulldogs at Optus Stadium. The Dockers, very unlucky not to make that top 4 position, and the Dogs, they're very lucky to make that top 8 position. And I could almost say that the Dogs, you could argue, are making up the numbers for the 8 this season. They're definitely not worthy, in my opinion, of a final side. They've definitely just scraped in, and they haven't really been that convincing this season. Even in their last few games to get into finals, wasn't in the most convincing fashion. So it tells me that the Dogs are probably going to go out in this game and could lose this game by a fair margin if they're not careful. The Dockers definitely deserving of this final spot, and at home they're going to be hungry. They'll want to get the win. I don't see any bit of 2016 Bulldogs in the Bulldogs at the moment, but I think the Dockers win this one quite comfortably by 33 points to head into the semi-finals. Alrighty guys, that was week 1 done. We move into week 2, the semi-finals. We've got the first semi-final between Collingwood and Fremantle, like what you would think would be the Friday night time slot, the MCG. This would be a very juicy contest, that is for sure. These two sides played off against each other earlier this season, and it was the Pies that got the job done in an upset by 36 points at Optus. And if these two sides do face off against each other, it's going to be a close game, but I don't think I can see the Pies losing out in straight sets. They've won 11 of the last 12. I don't know if they're going to lose their 2 finals, to be honest. They've been in too good a form. They'll find a way to win this, I reckon. The Dockers, they do play well in Victoria, so it's going to be a really good contest, but I think the Pies get it done in another thriller in this game by 3 points and advance into the prelims and knock the Dockers out. The second semi-final, we have the D's take on the Tigers at the MCG. This is going to be a huge clash, set to probably have 70,000 plus at the G. And it's another interesting contest. You've got the Tigers who, they do win this game, will be on a winning streak of 5 games in a row and just in some tremendous form, and the D's would be off the back of a loss. But again though, the D's have probably been the second best side in the competition all year. It would be very, very hard to see them dropping out in straight sets. I don't think this team is going to go in straight sets this season, so it could happen, but I think the Tigers, they don't match that well against the D's as of late. The D's should probably get this win, and I think the D's will win this game by 19 points. The Tigers, they're a chance of winning this game, I believe, but the D's should get the job done, I believe, and yeah, I can't see them going out in straight sets to the Demons, so they'll advance into the preliminary final. We head to the first preliminary final, and just like the first qualifying final for the Cats, this will be played at the MCG because obviously the GMHBA Stadium doesn't hold as many people as the G, and you could argue that gives the D's the upper hand in this contest. But again, I said it earlier, if the Cats go and win the first final, I believe they'll go all the way, regardless of how good the D's have been this season. I think the Cats have been better. We can all agree. I know in the last prelim final, I think I actually ended up tipping the Cats to win that game, and I definitely got that one incorrect, but this is a different Cats outfit. They're doing things differently this season. I think they can definitely go all the way, and it's going to be tough because a lot of people probably predict these two sides to be in the grand final, but I think in this game, the D's unfortunately lose it, and the Cats go to the grand final and win it by 21 points as my prediction. The second preliminary final of the week, we've got the Swans take on the Pies at the SCG. A few weeks ago, these two sides faced off against each other, and it was the Swans that got the upper hand by 27 points. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think as of late, the Swans have been a bogey side for the Pies. They haven't really been able to get too many wins against the Swans as of late, and they weren't able to get it done at the SCG when they had a streak of 10 wins in a row leading up to it. I feel like reality is going to hit the Pies. They've done so well for so long, but surely the winning ways can't continue, particularly at the SCG, or I just feel like the Swans match up so much better than the Pies. We always see a couple of smashings in final series, regardless of who plays who. I think this is going to be that smashing if it does happen, and I'm going to go the Swans to win it by 45 points. They're going to get dragged back down to reality. A bit of a reality check for the Pies in this one. I reckon the Swans, they tear them a new one and win it by 45 to advance into the grand final. So the grand final, my predicted grand final for 2022 before the final series will be Geelong v Sydney at the MCG. This is going to be a really good contest, to be honest. You would, however, expect the Cats to go into this game favourites. You know, they've just been so good for so long. If they do win their first final and they do make it to the grand final, they're going to have the hunger and passion to go all the way. I mean, they've been so close for so long, always in the finals. They've always just fallen short. It surely has to be their year if they do make it, the Cats. I just don't see them dropping this one. Against the Swans especially, who are quite a young side still, you'll just trust the Cats a little bit more. They've been the more convincing side all season, although the Swans, their run home has been tremendous. They'll definitely give themselves every chance of winning this game. But yeah, I think I'll go the Cats in this one. They're going to win the game in a game which I hope will be close. I always predict these close games in grand finals. It never happens, but I'll go again, another pretty close one. The Cats win it by 11 in a very even contest, but the Cats prevail at the end in what you would argue is a low-scoring affair by 11 points. So there you go, guys. I've probably said this for the last 5 or 6 weeks. I reckon the Cats go all the way in 2022. Something's a little bit different about the Cats side this year. They're just getting it done a lot more convincingly. They're just a more complete side. The Cats win it in 2022. They're the premiers. As I did last year, we'll go the Norm Smith. Predictions for Norm Smith, I'm probably going to go Mitch Duncan. You know, if the Cats win it, it'd probably be a Cats player, and I believe he'll be good enough to win the Norm Smith medal on the day. So the Cats, the 2022 premiers. Ironically, that's the exact team that predicted the premiership for Omegle last year for 2022. But yeah, the Cats win it for 2022. Those are my predictions. Leave your finals predictions down below. Who's going to win the flag? And we'll see you soon in my next one.